What's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another horror movie review, and this time we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th Part 2.
I'm Sylvia Saska.
And I'm Jen Saska.
And we're the Saska Sisters. Get a part of this.
Bloody Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here.
Scrub the little butt
Down there.
It's
Blood
nothing.
E with 2 E's.
Bloody Jacob for sexy, awesome, exclusive content. And actually a for real friend of the Saskas.
Yeah, we love him. Support his stuff.
Please support your local artists. Please. Mwah.
Yes, Friday the 13th Part 2. We're kind of talking about this series in a weird order. But it just sort of comes up as I, watch them again. Like, I'm taking my fiance through the series. She kind of jumped around a bit, so we had to go back to, Part 2, from 1981. But if you guys didn't know, Jason Voorhees, the Friday the 13th franchise, but Jason Voorhees especially, he's still my all-time favorite slasher. Probably still my all-time favorite horror movie character. It's very close between him and, Freddy Krueger, of course, in the, slasher regard especially. But, I've just always, I don't know if I want to say connected with Jason more, or he's just one of my favorites since I was a kid, basically. I don't need to explain that right now. That can be a separate video at some point, maybe. By the way, also, cool new Friday the 13th hat. Got that at the Days of the Dead HorrorCon Chicago, if you guys didn't see my video on that. But yeah, I just got the DVD here. I have all the movies on DVD. Yeah, I do gotta get a Blu-ray set of that at some point, but they're just expensive as fuck. Excuse the language there, but I do gotta get a better set of them, definitely. But yeah, Friday the 13th Part 2. Of course, this is, picking up after the first film, with, Mrs. Voorhees now dead. And according to IMDb, Mrs. Voorhees is dead and Camp Crystal Lake is shut down, but a camp next to the infamous place is stalked by an unknown assailant. And yes, that is a very, very complicated plot, just as the Friday the 13th movies are known for, right? Just like that, they're all doomed. Crazy Ralph did not really last long in this movie. But, I sort of have an interesting relationship with Friday the 13th Part 2. I remember when I first got into these movies when I was younger, I was like, this isn't one of the more exciting, entries in the franchise, because when I was younger, I just wanted Jason in his hockey mask. I thought the, pillowcase or sackhead Jason, whatever you want to call him, is lame. I just want to get to him in the hockey mask, or I like the, sort of the, faster, pacing, I guess, if you want to say that, of the, 6 and onward films. But steadily over time, over the years, Part 2 I've actually liked more and more. It's to the point now where I think it's actually one of my favorite Friday films. Part 6, Jason Lives, is probably still my favorite. I just think that movie has a really good mix of, a self-awareness, sort of over-the-top humor, gory kills and such. It has that kind of gloomy, moody atmosphere too. I like the introduction of zombie Jason, full effect with that. Even the Frankenstein resurrection scene and such. But part 2 here, it comes close. For me, it's part 6, and then after that, it's a toss-up between movies like part 2, part 4, maybe part 7. I do get some enjoyment out of Jason X. I do not care for Part 5, A New Beginning. 8 is okay. 9 is somewhere in there. I do really like Freddy vs. Jason, but it depends, if you want to count that or not. And I do like the remake too, at least from the Derek Mears standpoint. But we can talk about the actual rankings another time. But my point is, as I've said, I have grown to steadily like Part 2 more and more over the years. And watching it again with my fiance just recently, it only helped to re-emphasize that point. First off, it is simplified. The kills aren't, very over the top in this movie. But unlike Part 5, I feel like they were still, for the most part, interesting enough. Although I do like, let's see, I just want to get his name real quick. It is hard to keep track of names in these types of movies. Let's see. Just has time. The Mark character played by Tom McBride. He's a likable character. It's funny, he and the girl Vicky, Laurie Marie Taylor's character, they end up being some of the more likable, seemingly decent people in the movie. Of course, they're both killed off before they actually sleep together. I guess they had like a real thing for each other, as she did for him, but he was gay in real life. I don't know about that for sure, but like when he gets the machete to the face and he's kind of pushed down the steps and such. It's it's a bit a little bad taste there, but nonetheless a cool moment. Or when Jason sits up from the bed, the pitchfork sort of thing. I could go on about there's actually a good resource here. Let me see if I can still get to it. Alright, CampBlood.net, also used to be known as Shivers of Horror, is basically a forum for the franchise I used to go to years ago. It's not as active anymore, for various reasons, but still have some good resources on like a list of body counts and such. So and Terry, the girl you're expecting to kill the most, she's basically killed off screen. Her love interest is hung up upside down and basically had his neck sliced. There's this sheriff cop, hammered to the back of the head. Probably the most innovative kill in the movie is Jeff and Sandra, sort of the double the double impalement with what he was scaring the rest of the counselors with earlier. My point is the kills weren't very inventive in this either. But somehow they made it more interesting, the way the music went with it, the way it was, the whole movie was paced the way it was timed. There's a suspense with this movie, still keeping it engaging. It was slower than some of the later sequels. But they also did a good job of, taking our expectations and sort of turning them a bit. Because there'll be times when you have a camera like slowly creeping up on a character that turns out to be no one. Not necessarily a jump scare either, because they wouldn't just like music, loud music or something. I don't know. They did it in a more sort of enjoyable way, I thought. And I also, one thing I really do like about this movie is our lead character here, Jenny, played by Amy Steele. I think she's one of the best. Final girls, if you want to call her that, of the franchise. In fact, I think, let's see, I actually do think I prefer her to Alice, who is in this movie a little bit. And there's some conflicting stories about Andrea King's involvement with this. IMDb says, she had this stalker because of the first film, and she wanted a very short amount of screen time for this. Then there's another part of the IMDb trivia that says, but she, she'd actually shown up on set and said, use me however you want, but then she showed up and they already filmed the whole movie, and she just had the death scene and such, so that's kind of conflicting information there. But whatever it was, I feel like she made for a stronger, survivor sort of character, and I think she came off a bit more capable than Adrian King's performance was. But again, you know, we only see Adrian King against Betsy Palmer, you know, which isn't her fault necessarily, but you know, we see Alice killed off at the beginning of the movie, showing Jason that Jason could track her down, you know, probably use a car or something, and he know how to trick her with the phone. You know, then you get the ice pick to the head or whatever, which is fine. It made sense that Jason would at least be hell-bent on finding her no matter where she was, and then, you know, going back to the camp. I think that was justified since she is the one that actually killed his mother. And then Sackhead Jason himself. Of course, you know, we prefer Jason with the hockey mask, but I think the Sackhead or, you know, pillowcase Jason, I think worked fine. There's a certain eeriness to him, obviously, an homage to Town That Dreaded Sundown. Warrington Gillette is the one that you know, gets the main credit for Jason in this movie, but it was actually Steve Dash who did most of the work as Jason in this. I mean, Warrington Gillette, not to, you know, take away, you know, all credit from him, but he's mostly Jason when you see him unmasked, you know, towards the very tail end of the movie, whereas Steve Dash, and he does all the stunt work, he does, you know, a lot of the physical, you know, work, the running. Again, obviously the stunt work, so the tackling, you know, the any, you know, hacking or whatever you see him do. So it's interesting how that works, but of course, Steve Dash, he passed away last December, it was. I didn't get to directly, you know, meet him at a, you know, his table or anything, but I was attending the Flashback Horror Convention when he was there in 2018. You know, the big, you know, Jason Reunion panel he was a part of. I was a VIP that year, so I did actually have an interaction with them because, you know, the VIP sort of gala, you know, he was walking around, you know, talking to some of the other, you know, VIP attendees, you know, just shaking hands with everyone and saying hi, you know, including me, and he seemed like a nice guy. He had a really sarcastic, you know, personality. I'm sure, you know, I think he annoyed some of the other ones, but I don't know about that. But he was an entertaining guy. You always like to say he was the first, you know, real Jason, which he was in a way. And I think he was good here. Of course, it's different than the Jason, you know, most people think of. You know, he's more human, even more so in 3, and even, you know, especially 4, and then obviously, you know, 6 and onward. He's not, you know, really hulking or anything, but he's definitely dangerous. Definitely kind of moves in somewhat unpredictable ways. He's definitely very persistent. You know, so I think from that standpoint, from this stage of his, you know, spree that Jason was at, I thought, you know, Steve Dash's work, you know, served it, you know, well enough here. And then Jason's look at the end of the movie when you see him without the mask, I do like quite a bit. Of course, it is you know, it is a change one to see him unmasked in the third one, but his head and, you know, face have like these deformities that, I don't know, could kind of transition to how he looks in the third one, perhaps. Although, you know, the design did change. So, but yeah, you know, I really like this film. Actually, again, it had this eeriness to it, suspense, it had patience. Yet it was more engaging than you know, some of the earlier films. I actually think this is overall better than Part 3, and I like Part 3. You know, first one with the hockey mask. You know, some of the kills in that. But I think the characters. I think I just enjoyed the characters a bit more in this one. There aren't any complete assholes. Some who come off a little bit prickish at certain points. But I thought this little cast had a certain life and energy to them. Maybe not some of the greatest, you know, actors here and there, but I thought they all worked fairly well. Like I said, Vicky and Mark were likable, especially. Paul was okay. John Fury, you know, kind of mixed things with him. But again, I really did love Ginny, and her, you know, trying to be this child psychologist, and her actually talking at the bar about, you know, what Jason's actually going through. You know, probably the deepest analysis we ever got on Jason, you know, especially in these initial films. So I really enjoyed that. The ending is good. You know, the whole Muffin mystery. You know, I do think Muffin's alive. Because if Muffin survived encountering Jason in the woods, you know, by himself early in the movie, and then, you know, Jason apparently left him alive, and he shows up at the end, why would Jason kill him then? You know, obviously Jason doesn't care about the little dog, so I think Muffin is alive. Unless the whole thing was a dream, which apparently it wasn't, because Paul was still missing, and I think Paul was probably killed. But that's Paul. I just want the dog to be allowed. But yeah, I really like part 2. I think it's one of my, maybe my 3 favorites of the initial franchise, depending on if you count Freddy vs. Jason or not. I'm not sure what I'd rate this one, but somewhere around that general basis of an 8 out of 10, I think. Let me guys thought about this one. Where does it rank for you? Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and any other comments we can talk more about for sure. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.